So, hey Hannah, how are you today?
Hello, hello. I'm really good. Thank you so much for having me today.
No problem. It's as always we film on a Friday, so it's always that happy Friday feeling.
Love it.
And want to just first question that I ask everybody: how do you like your coffee in the morning?
Oh, that's a really interesting question because I don't drink coffee in the morning.
Are you one of them?
I'm one of them. I'm one of those weird people who doesn't drink coffee. Admittedly, I do sometimes, but as we were just discussing before we came on air, I'm a little bit excitable. So if you give me caffeine, like, do not be like, I can't be responsible for the consequences, right? So I tend to stay well clear of anything that may cause me to be any more weirder than I am already, basically. There we go.
Well, that is a really lovely segue in really what we're going to deep dive in today is because you are here with full energy, full like you're just there. It's amazing, and we want to know a little bit of like why what is it that you do and why do you do it and how can other people, I'm going to add an extra question, how do other people get your energy? That's what we were going to talk
Oh,
about
wow.
today.
Okay. I mean, and as we were just talking, weren't we? We were talking about like, I have never taken drugs, mainly because let's face it, if I'm like this already, what the F would happen if I took drugs? Like, we don't want to see that, right? Um, so it's one of those things, and actually, it's quite strange because I was thinking about this the other day. I had a bit of an epiphany with my friend on Monday. I have a very feisty Irish friend, bless her, she's awesome, and I had an epiphany with her on Monday, and she said to me, because I was like, she's really high energy. And I was like, but when I was growing up, I was told, quieten down, like don't be so much, etc., etc. And she said to me, like, that, like, what a travesty that would be, like, for you not to love how you've been made. Like, I can't even imagine that. She's like, this is my best quality. Me being energetic is my best quality. Like, what the? I don't even understand what you're talking about. That's how she was with me. And it's really interesting. And to be honest, I can't even remember what the question was because I feel like I've completely gone into a whole different thing, right? Um,
let's
but
let's just touch up let's just touch on that and just settle on that because you that is really what we're gonna there's a lot of that what we're gonna talk about today is you've got these outward factors out facing factors saying you can't, you shouldn't, you should, but you should be
yeah,
this
the
person, this
shoulds,
is the
the coulds, the
expectation,
woulds.
coulds, yeah, exactly, like this is the model of like you should be this person rather than, well, actually no, intrinsically who am I, what is my natural behavior. And
Mm,
like a story from my side is I think uh, my thought of my own identity. I thought I was just a very boring, average person, like personality wise, nothing necessarily outward. And then I did this little trick where I messaged. I think it was like 5 to 6 people who I spend a lot of time with, and I
yeah.
said, "What's 3 words that you would describe my personality as?" And every single one of them came out as bubbly. And I was like,
Oh
I
wow.
don't I
That's
don't
so
see myself as
lovely though, isn't
bubbly.
it?
Ah,
Yeah.
I
And you would never probably call yourself that, would you? Because we're really
yeah,
great at going, oh, I'm too much, or oh, I'm too loud, or oh, I'm too this, or oh, I'm too something. Not
yeah.
like, oh, I'm
I
bubbly.
I thought I
Yeah,
was
love
more like a
that.
reserved character, and they all came out with saying, no,
Oh
no,
yeah, me
like no,
too.
you're bubbly. And I had a full little like I'm gonna say moment, when I'm 19, going like, am I bubbly? Like it really mulled over this. It really got to me, and as I got older, I was like, ah, no, I can see it now. I can see it. It's not the necessarily like super loud bubbly, but definitely after coffee, or actually maybe before coffee,
Yeah, well,
like
any time of the day.
happily any time of the day, I can be bubbly. I can be there.
Yeah, I
So this
love
this is
that.
what I really
And
love
that's
to
so
talk to you about
interesting
today.
because I worked for Tony Robbins. I trained under Tony Robbins. I was a results coach and business results trainer for Tony Robbins. And when I first joined, I had massive imposter syndrome, massively. Because apart from anything else, I mean, you live in America now. For me, the Americans are high energy, they're confident, they're all of this stuff. And here I was. I mean, there was only about six coaches in the UK at the time who were coaches for Tony Robbins at the time when I was there. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not like the Americans. Oh my God, I'm not bubbly. I'm not this, I'm not that. And people would say to me, Anna, you're high energy. And I'm like, well, not compared to this, I am. And like coming back to what we were saying, we can be so good at comparing ourselves. We're comparing ourselves to the frigging neighbours, to the people who are in our industry, to all of these different bits, and the next door neighbour's dog. We love comparing ourselves, and it is a travesty because, and I'll be the first to put my hand up, I compare myself all of the time, and then I'm like, Anna, what the fuck are you doing? Sorry, language. I'm really good at swearing, by the way, just to caveat that now.
Use the full plethora of the English language. That's what it's there for.
All
so
the
don't
F's
worry
and
about
everything. And I said to a client the other day, actually, I swore, and I said something, and she went, Anna, this is just you. She said, when you message me, I just know to leave the room and not listen to your messages in front of my children. That's all. It's really interesting, though, because I have a full spectrum of clients, and my other half will say, what I love about you is I will hear you on the phone, and you are a different person for every one of your clients. I have split personality, right, clearly. But he said, you are a different person. I know, right? I said yesterday to my family were in the car with me for 2 hours before I graduated. Oh my God. Like they are so patient and amazing, because I was bouncing off the walls, right? I was so energetic, so excited. I was sitting there trying to ground myself. Trying to ground yourself in a car, it's not, if anyone's tried to do it, it's not that easy with, 5 other people who are all quite bubbly, but all individualistic. I had to get someone to take my phone off me. I was like, Mum, just take my phone off me. Do not let me have my phone. I was like, please parent me. Even my kids were parenting me, right? And I don't even know where I'm going now with this, but it's one of those situations of like, I think we can be so good at like giving ourselves a hard time. And, I'm 43. No, I'm not. I don't even know how old I am. I think I'm 44. It doesn't really matter. I could stop counting past 30. I was like, fuck that. So yeah, I think I might be 44 now. Anyone who knows me, please remind me. But actually, don't bother. I don't. Who cares? But yeah, and even now, I'm still getting to terms with who am I? Like, who am I? Because I think we are, especially, like as women, we are a million different personalities. We're a different personality to everyone that we know. And I think the thing is, at the moment that I see is people are like, oh, you should just be yourself. Well, who the hell is yourself, right? Because I swear to God, if I was the same person with my kids, with my partner, with my client, with my parents, with my friends, I would be fucking arrested, right? I swear to God, because I'm sorry, you cannot be the same person you are with your kids that you are with your partner, okay, or your clients. I said to one of my clients the other day something to do with Paul, and because she knows Paul, and I was like, well, obviously, if I was the same with you as I was with Paul, and she was like, fucking hell, Anna, no, like, that would be so wrong. Because we know each other really well. But yeah.
And talking about your clients, and we're obviously talking about Tony Robbins. So Tony Robbins, for people who've not really lived in that world, I've lived and breathed his stuff when in my early 20s. His role is to help people reach their full potential by being able to understand yourself. This is what we're talking about, our identity, understanding what are the things in our mind that is holding us back and why. And yeah, and then so coming to you then is, how are you helping your clients? So before we get into that, actually, just really want to touch on what I loved is you saying you talk to your clients, and you speak to each of your clients very, very differently. And in my head, what I'm hearing there is you're really resonating and connecting with each of your clients on their communication levels. They're just resonating on how they like to be fed back, how they like to be nurtured and taught. And this is a really wonderful thing to hear, because it means you really understand them and their identity and how they want to be progressed. But let's talk about them. Like, how do you help them?
Well, I suppose, and what you've just said is so perfect, because the fact is, coaching, mentoring, whatever you want to call it, right? I don't care what you call it, right? Helping people. When you are helping people, at the end of the day, this is not about me. It's about them. So actually, it's about how they want to be treated. I mean, this saying, treat others how you want to be treated, in my opinion, is a load of bull BS. Okay? Because if I treated you how I want to be treated, then the fact is I would not be treating you how you want to be treated. I would be treating you how I want to be treated. That would not work. Okay? So I need to ask you, Charlie, how do you like to be treated? Okay, sometimes that's a little bit of sensory acuity. I can pick up, but now I've been doing this so long. I was speaking to a roofer earlier. One of my clients is a roofer, okay? And he's been doing it for 45 years. He's 65. He's been in business for 45 years. Amen, right? He's been in business for 45 years. And he said to me, and we were talking, and he said, I can survey a roof in like that, come up with a price. I said, yeah, because you've been doing it for 45 years, right? And we forget that because we, that level of experience, you know, like it's the whole analogy, isn't it? Like going to a factory, turning a bolt, $99, you know, $1 for turning the bolt, $999 for knowing which bolt to turn type of situation. We don't actually kind of recognize our own experience. So one of my number one jobs with my clients is to help them A, recognize the experience they have. B, recognize how effing awesome they are. I've got a client today. She's literally moving to LA today. Taryn fucking high five, right? She is literally, I've got shivers down my spine talking about this, okay? Because she is up in, moving to LA. She has no idea what the hell is going to happen. And I'm like, okay, I've literally got tingles all over me because the fact that I'm part of her journey and she chooses for me to be her coach, her mentor, her therapist, I mean, a bit of everything, right? I'm trained in a lot of areas, is an honor that she chooses me. And I'm like, she messaged me this morning. She was like, I'm on the way to the airport at 4:00 this morning. Our family and friends were saying goodbye. And I'm like, and you want to tell me that you're not loved? Because I swear to God, I don't get out I don't get out of bed at 4:00 in the morning for people who I do not love, who do not matter to me. I'm like, come on, look at this evidence, right? This is phenomenal. How awesome is this on your journey? So I feel incredibly grateful. I am the coach I am, the mentor, the therapist I am because of my clients, 100%.
And I love that. And then one thing I really kind of like connected with your brand and what you're doing is very much like when a new client may come to you, everything may feels murky. They're so lost in the woods. They don't know. They've got zero idea. Well, like what steps do I need to take, or why have I just got so much stuff filled in my brain? I don't know which direction I should go, or why do I just feel so much like despair all the time? How do you, if somebody's got all of these feelings, if they're a business owner, an entrepreneur, which is incredibly natural feelings to have, how do you get them to a place where they've got the clarity, the confidence to say, hey, I'm going to go book a plane ticket to LA, I'm going to move my life over there, and I'm going to have the confidence, I know exactly what I'm going to be able to do to have the lifestyle I want, have the living I want, to be happy, feel confident, and be able to just keep working through the next day, every day, and know I've got a plan. How do you get them from, that person in frustration, murky, just almost like sort of depressive state to I feel confident, I know what the next steps are, this is what I'm going to do?
This is it's a great question. It really, really is. And that is not a one size fits all answer. And this is where for me, I get, I'm not going to use the word frustrated because at the end of the day, it's a low vibration word. Let's chuck that one out the window. I can sometimes kind of feel that, in the coaching world, there are a lot of people going, hey, I'll show you how to do this. I'll show you how to do that. And I say to my clients, the first thing I say to them is, please do not follow me on my journey, what I have done. Do not do that. Because I can 99% guarantee it's not going to work for you. Okay. What we are going to do together is we are going to work out what your journey is. Okay. Because what I see so much is people going, well, I want to earn $10,000 a month. I want to earn £1 million. I want to do this. I want to do that. And I ask them why, and they're like, oh. And there is so much of this around £10,000 months, 100 grand, 6 figures, blah, da, 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 da. There's so much of this noise. It's in our brains and we don't even know why. And I'll say to them, well, what's your outcome? What is it you really want? Like, because if you tell me I want to do this, do this, do this, well, actually, we don't know how much money that you need until we start to look at the lifestyle that you want, the lifestyle that you want to create. Everybody is different. There is no right or wrong. It's just different. Like, there is no right or wrong. And I think that's first important. The first thing I do with clients, and I have a client, and she said to me, when she first started working with me, she thought I was crazy. A lot of people think that, right? Let's face it, I think I'm a little bit. I think if I was ever taken to a mental institute, I probably would be committed. But hey, I just don't.
I mean, every business owner I know,
probably would be, right?
Yeah, there's
We've
some
got to have a screw
loose
somewhere. Like, otherwise, why the hell would we do this? This is far too much hard work to actually do it in a sane state.
There's a brilliant video that I watched this morning, as I don't know any different from being self-employed. I've been self-employed since I was 17.
Years, right?
Yeah, and I don't know any other way. But I watched this video this morning, and it was this super multi-million millionaire, and he's like 65, 70. He's old. And the interviewer goes, if you are 30, if you were 30 again with the same friends, what business would you start in, like now, like in this now times? And he goes, I just wouldn't. And you're like, what? You're like a multi-millionaire who's built this business. Why wouldn't you start a new business? And he was just like saying, well, if I knew how hard it was, and I knew what pain you go through and what vulnerability you go through from starting and running a business, if I knew exactly what that journey looked like, I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. I wouldn't want to do it for myself. I'd want to go the easy, comfortable route. But the thing about every kind of entrepreneur and anybody who has been in the self-employment life for long enough, the question always comes up of, how hard can it be?
Oh, exactly. But otherwise we wouldn't do it, would we? It's like kids, right? I've got 2 boys, one's 15 and one's 19. And I swear to God, if someone said, this is what your life as a parent's going to be, I would have literally gone, oh, it's all right, thanks. I'll stick as I am, thanks. And I say to my clients, like, when you have a child, and this is different, it doesn't matter whether it's a child or a business, and my partner doesn't have children, but he says his businesses, he's been had his own businesses for over 30 odd years. He's a lot older than he looks. He's actually, people think he's my age, he's not. He's actually 14 years older than me. And basically, like, if, like, when you started, you could write a 10,000 page manual on being a parent, owning a business. You could write a 10,000 page manual. You could read that manual inside cover, and do you know what's going to happen? Something that's not in the frigging manual. Something's going to happen, and it won't be in the manual. And you're like, what the fuck do I do now? It's not like, there's no manual. And what is it about us humans that, like, we have to know what's going to happen? And do you know what the funny thing is? Then when death arrives, we seem to be surprised by this. And I'm like, what the F? Like, death is actually the only thing that in this world is guaranteed. Like the rest of it is all a surprise. And I don't think we're supposed to know, because let's face it, if we knew the day we were going to die, if we knew everything that happened in our life, I don't know about you, but I think I would live my life differently. I don't know. I don't know how I would. I don't want to know. I just don't want to know, to be fair. I don't want to know that on whatever I'm going to die. No thanks.
In fairness, I've always I've read a lot of Ryan Holiday, and I've read a lot of around Stoicism and kind of any sort of more modern day narratives that you could literally die at any point, and it is morbid as it sounds.
And you can't
control it, but it has always then made me kind of think, well, okay, what are the things that I want to do now? What are the things that I'm not going to put off, And that kind of like saying about this year, as I've spent the year traveling the world, because at this
I
point
know,
in
I
my
love that.
point in
We
my
were
life,
talking about that,
I
weren't we? And I'm so in awe of your journey because you're just phenomenal. You're like, hey, let's just like move to America and let's just do this. And I bloody love it. I would love to do that. I'm always like, well, I've got children, I've got responsibilities, I've got a dog. I've got a lot of excuses, right? We all have a thing.
We all, honestly, I've got
We've
all
all got
those excuses as well. All got
Sorry,
those
we call
excuses,
them
but
reasons, don't we? We call them reasons. Let's face it, they're excuses, right? But we call them,
but
they
it's
mask
this
around as reasons.
exactly. And then well, this is the thing. There's two reasons though. There's two sentences that's always comes into my head. One, how hard can it be? It's always really bloody hard. Two,
Yeah.
my friends, I don't know if they get annoyed or they like this saying, but any decision I make or anything I'm gonna do, I'll say, hey, I'm gonna do this, and then they'll come up with, but what if this? What about this? What about this? And I'm like, details. We'll figure the details out later. My
If you
brain
thought
will.
about all of that, you wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
You wouldn't
exactly.
do it
That's
if
why.
you thought about it. Yeah. And prime
And
example was when we were on holiday. So we were in Cyprus I was lucky that my 18-year-old, well, my boys were 18 and 14 back then. I was really lucky that a 18-year-old came with us. I've persuaded him to come to Egypt next year, next March. I'm like, I think he's going to just like tag along on all of our holidays, even though he's now an adult. I'm like, okay. But literally, we went to this cliff to jump into the water. And literally, we got there, and before we could blink, he had run, jumped in the water. Okay. No word of a lie. Okay. My other half, who was going to jump in, walked over to the edge and went, oh, fucking hell. Because he's different, right? My son is, let's call it whatever you want to call. He's an action taker. Takes action quickly. If you want to call it impulsive, we can call it impulsive, right? My other half is complete opposite, and he will assess the situation. I'm the same as my son who jumped in. He'll assess the situation, and he concluded, if I jump in there, I may die, so I'm not going to do it. Right? Here's the thing: there is no right or wrong in both of those. Me and my partner work really well because if we were both like me, we would have no money and live in a tent, right? Whatever, we might not live in a tent, but either we would live in a tent or we would be multimillionaires, right? There is no in between. Okay. But it would be horrible. It would be horrible because all of the time it would be so stressful. If we were both like him, we would never do anything, right? So we pull together and actually we make a really good team because I stop him from overanalyzing the fact that he's going to die. And he goes, honey, I think we might need to breathe for a moment because we might jump off there and hit a rock. So we kind of like balance each other out a little bit, and that is really helpful. Basically, he keeps me grounded. Otherwise, quite frankly, I would be a nightmare. He yesterday described me of trying to manage me is like trying to drive a Lamborghini on ice.
Yeah.
That is probably a great description. And then later in the day, in the car, he said, "No, actually, I'm reviewing this. You were like trying to snake wrestle a snake covered in lube in a swimming pool." And my dad, bless him, went, "Oh, Paul, oh bloody hell, yes, you're definitely right." I was like, "Thanks, guys." My dad is just like me.
It is so true. I mean, this is why we get on. We're in the same camp. I'm always described as the bull in the china shop.
On the same wavelength.
It's
100.
yeah.
Just this profiling, right? Hi D, hi
Yeah.
I, and you have this fight between them. It's like we're bullying the china shop, and then we're like, oh shit, how many people have I upset today with my bullying? Oh my god, I need to go and apologise.
But what's really good here is actually this is very, very full circle to what you're saying about everybody is different and everybody has a different experience. Now, I'm obviously going to use your son as the analogy, where he, you're younger, you're more likely to take those risks because of the learned behavior that you take risks if you don't mitigate them or you just go full at them, there is still a percentage of potential that it could go wrong. And if you don't have a
there's
contingency,
consequences.
there's consequences, absolutely. And just tying into how you are helping business owners. If say you've been doing business for a while, there would be times where you've had to take those risks, and they don't. I can fully the first person to put my hand up to say they always don't come off good. And so,
exactly.
one, what do you do in that situation? And then two, how do you make sure that just because you took a risk, you did some action, you don't learn as like, oh, that's a bad experience, I should not take risk, I should not take action. So because if you get into that phase, I don't know how you're going to do business without being able to confidently be confident about your skills to say, I know I can do this, be able to implement it, and it's the probability is that I'm going to get the results that I want from it because I've taken this risk. So how do you work with business owners to make sure that they stay and they don't learn that like bubble wrap behavior?
Yeah, I think again, I think the biggest thing is self-love and trust. They are the two number one things, because with both of those analogies, and like my partner, he has been in business for I don't even know, since he was early 20s, right? He's been in business a long time. He probably will not thank me for telling you how long he's been in business, right? Because he looks about 45, right? He's not. You can probably guess from, if you do the maths, you'll probably work it out. Exactly, right? But the fact is, he's been in business for a long time. Why is he still in business, and why does he own the largest model shop selling planes in the UK? Okay, well, it's not a shop. God, he'll kill me calling it a shop. It's an online business. Do not walk in. It's not a frigging shop. It's an online business. Honestly, people walk in and he's like, we're not a shop. We're an online business, right? But the fact is, he is quite cautious, right? And I joke and I say, like, we had a building put in the garden, and I got to the point and I'm like, after measuring it like 15 times and putting it out and measuring it out, whatever, I was like, darling, I am like, seriously, you need to order this now or I'm actually going to kill you and bury you underneath the patio. Just order it, right? Just order it or never speak about it ever again, right? And I think sometimes he just needs that little bit of a push. He's ordered it. It's amazing. He loves it. He's got his planes in there. Bloody loves it, right? Goes out, gets out from under my feet. It's amazing. But there's no right or wrong. I'm impulsive. He's not impulsive. It doesn't mean that one is better than the other. We're both business owners. We both do things very differently, but we both help each other. And that's the important thing. And even though I can be quite impulsive with my clients, I help the impulsive ones to calm down, and I help the clients who are slower paced, who like to take things slower, to help them actually to take action. And how I describe it is either you're a marathon runner or a sprint runner. Okay, so marathon runners, okay, are very slow and steady. Okay, so it's a slow pace, it's slow and steady. You might run for like 5 miles. Okay, a sprint runner is going to go hard and heavy. Okay, for like 100 meters. Okay, that's the difference. Neither is right or wrong. It's just as it is. You need the same level of rest. You need the same nutrition, all of that. Neither are right or wrong. It's just your makeup and what you enjoy, right? But the problem is, what I see is marathon runners tell themselves they should be sprint runners, and sprint runners tell themselves they should be marathon runners. That's where we're getting it wrong. Stop doing that. Okay, love yourself who you are. But the biggest thing, stop trying to be someone else. You are you. Everybody else is taken, right? Be you. Okay, and that's the biggest thing. Be you, love you, and that's the biggest thing that I see. Successful business owners accept who they are, love themselves unconditionally, and you know what? When things go wrong, they go, tomorrow's a new day. Let's start again.
Yeah,
and that's what I say.
I'm going to add to that. They almost lean in more into the personality as well. They really lean into it. Like, I'm going to use Alex Hormozy as an example.
Oh, I love it. Oh my God.
This
worship the ground he walks on. Love it.
because I think a lot of people do, because he comes out and he leans into his personality.
Yeah.
You know, he just goes, "Hey guys," unapologetically as well. He likes to work, he likes to lift, he likes to wear his tank top. He even has the nose strip on because he helps breathe, and he's just like, "I'll explain anything about myself and I'll lean into it." And we all gravitate to it though, and because you can see somebody unapologetically just loving themselves. Just a final question. So infectious.
Yeah.
So as a final question, if somebody is sitting there and they've not really fully accepted their identity, now I always say the symptom of if you don't really fully accept your identity is you. What's the phrase? You'll know the symptom. It's it's just something doesn't quite gel.
Like
you don't
feel stuck.
Yeah, feeling stuck. Thank you. That's what I'm reaching for. You know, what's the process of somebody to start to really love who they are and love their personality?
I think for everyone it's different. I really do. I think more than anything, and I've been on a journey. I've been in the personal development world for, do you know what? I don't even know how many years, because my mum was teaching me manifestation throughout the whole of my life. I didn't know that's what it was, but that's what she was teaching me. She was teaching me manifestation. And I think more than anything, it's about actually the things that you kind of see other people do that wind you up. It's asking yourself, okay, what is it about that person and the thing that they're doing that is annoying me, that is irritating me? Because what I generally find is when we see other people doing things that irritates you, it's because it's something within you that you are not loving on yourself. Okay, so that's the first thing. How do you kind of look at that? The second thing I would say that kind of teams in with that is move towards resistance. Okay, the biggest breakthroughs I've ever had is when I've moved towards resistance. For example, okay, I have my ex-husband to thank for the fact that I signed up with Tony Robbins. The day I got my contract to say, you've been accepted into our training camp for 3 months, you're going to be fully immersed in training for 3 months. That night, I said to him, I looked at the wages, okay, the salary, and I went, I'm not doing this. I'm worth more money than that. I'm not doing this. And he went, you've signed a contract. Get on with it. Do it. Without him, I would not be where I am now. He knows who he is. Thank you to Erin. You are awesome. Okay. However, he's part of my past, right? Both my ex-husbands I'm really good friends with. My first ex-husband, I have 2, by the way. Okay. I imagine that might trigger some people, right? My first ex-husband I go on holiday with. I went on holiday with my husband and my ex-husband and our 2 kids, right? Last year, I went on husband with my current husband. The word husband features a lot, clearly. I went on holiday with my current partner and my ex-husband, who is the dad of my kids, and my kids, right? At the end of the day, this is what we need to be teaching our kids, right? That we don't need all of these emotions about the past. The past is the past. Leave it in the fucking past, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, you might need to deal with it. Yes, you might need to visit there in a safe space with your coach, with your therapist, with your mentor. You might need to visit it in a safe space to go, what happened in the past that is affecting my current state that I need to heal, forgive, let go of, put in a box, seal it, and never think about it ever again. And that's what I help clients do. What do we need to deal with it? Do with it? What do we need to clean up so we can move forward with a clean slate? Basically.
Because really the objective is of you going on holiday is that the kids are having quality family time with the key parental, what they look like, you know, because that is a safe, positive experience environment, and also just rest for everybody as well. If there's animosity, that's a lot of stress.
We took turns. It was bloody brilliant. It was brilliant because at the time My ex-husband was with a partner. I was with my husband. And it was brilliant. It was after COVID. What actually happened? I was supposed to go to America. I couldn't go to America. Me and my ex-husband talked. He was supposed to take the kids to Belgium. And we both went, well, should we just go to Switzerland? My favourite place in the world. Should we just go to Switzerland, right? In the mountains. Beautiful, right? Bloody love it. Love Switzerland. Such an amazing energy. And it was great because what we've always said to the kids is, you are so lucky because you haven't just got one set of parents who love you. You've got 4 people. You haven't just got 2. You've got 4 people who all love you, or who are all nurturing you, or all taking care of you. How lucky are you that you have that? That you have 4 rather, because most people only have 2. How awesome is it that you have 4? Like, that is just incredible. And now my kids have probably a lot more than 4. But hey, right? There's me. There's my ex-husband, his ex-girlfriend. Still, I message her still now. My current partner adores my kids. He's foolish enough to take us all on. I don't know what he was thinking, but hey, and the dog. God, he needs a medal, I'm sure. But this is the thing. We need to teach our kids it's okay. Basically, our kids are our teachers, yeah? So the biggest thing I say is, I am the person I am because my kid's my biggest teacher. Every single day, in order to be the best parent I can, I have to learn and grow. They teach me what I need to know. Whereas as parents, we think we know better than them. Bullshit. They know better than us. They teach us how to parent them.
And on that note, I think we're going to kind of wrap it up there. We're going to finish there because I think that's a really great place to finish. I know, I like that with this, we've really kind of gone into different directions, but it is all very, very, very applicable to trying to run a business and being the best entrepreneur that we can be. All features, exactly. Because business.
And how we do one thing is how we do everything.
Absolutely, because if, like I said, this podcast is rough, it's ready because it isn't the Instagram. It is like, it's your whole world, and that includes the family, that includes your friends, that includes your habits. It includes everything. This work-life divide, it really doesn't exist. It's a far more blurry line, and we've got to work out what those boundaries are, but where we can also transfer these skills. So
definitely.
I'll leave on the note of, my dad's always joked that he never had like a kid's manual, like a parenting book to raise me. He just always used the business books, like on employees.
Love that.
And people that would trigger people.
Oh my!
But if you really
amazing. I love that. That's it. I'm going to do that.
There you go. My dad will happily talk about it, and when he does talk about it, you go,
oh, I love it.
It makes sense. I love my upbringing. I'm very, very grateful about it.
I had a very, very honoured upbringing. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So there's a very, very final question then. What is something that somebody could buy from you that is under £100 that would add a ton of value to their lives?
Well, actually, under 100, you can go to my website under free resources, and there's loads of free resources, right? So dive right in now. And, especially, I would urge you, if stuff I've said today has triggered you or, made you feel uncomfortable and whatever, dive right in even more, right? Get curious from a place of love. Get curious with yourself, like, why has that triggered me? Why do I feel this way? Because I think at the moment we're in this universe of like, it triggered me, so I'm going to run away as far as I can get. Like, move towards it. If something triggers you, move towards it. Because you know what? When we look at it and shine light on it, it's never, ever, ever bad.
Now, your website, your address, so everybody's got it, is
annawood.co.uk.
Okay, perfect. And you'll be able to find free resources, and let's hand it on there as Be Curious.
Love
That's
it.
great.
Thank you so much for having me, Charlie. Really appreciate it.
And see you soon.